This is my recap and reaction to Welcome to Plathville, Season 6, Episodes 4 and 5. Both episodes flip-flop from super tense divorce sit-downs to lighthearted dancing scenes or Micah telling Barry to get Rizz, things like that. Then back to divorce misery. Also, the editing and filmography is still, in my opinion, top tier. So let's get into it. The first episode I'm recapping is episode 4. It's called You're Like a Stranger to Me. And we start somewhere in the Midwest. Olivia is driving from LA to Minnesota. She's hoping to get all her stuff from her and Ethan's Minnesota apartment because the lease is up. And she's hoping this time that Ethan doesn't refuse to sign the divorce papers, because we learn that Ethan is still sending Olivia the classic I miss you text messages, and no one knows if he is actually ready to sign. Meanwhile, Lydia and Mariah have been visiting Ethan in Minnesota. They're staying longer. They're trying to be supportive. Probably a good call. Mariah is finally 21, so she's also excited to get a drink with her big brother. But Ethan at the bar just gets a coffee at a bar. And Mariah is so disappointed in that. Who knew that you could even get coffee at a bar? But Mariah obviously got a beer. She's a bartender anyway, right? Mariah and Ethan start talking about dating, how hard it is to date, and how they both want kids. Let's keep in mind that at this point, Mariah is going through her own disastrous breakup, that we don't know anything about her ex-boyfriend, but she kept this relationship private. They're both, Ethan and Mariah, in breakup mode, and kind of Lydia too, right? She just broke up with her boyfriend too. And now they cut to Kim and Ken, and Kim kind of alludes to the fact that now that Barry isn't here, she really is giving her younger kids more freedom. I mean, did she kind of, in a way, blame Barry for being too strict with the rules? It kind of seems that way, just how it comes off. One of the younger daughters is teaching line dancing, Amber, and one tied her shirt up and is actually showing her midriff, which is so far from season 1 Plath family. It's crazy. The little girls really like Ken now, apparently. And Ken says he won them over with ice cream, and even, gets convinced to line dance with everyone at first in Amber's class. But as soon as there's a twirl, he says, I quit, it's too hard, and just goes to the side. Amber says that Kim is her best friend now, and Kim is just super emotional about that when the producer tells her that, Amber said that. And honestly, Amber just seems like such a well-rounded, good girl. The Plaths did good. Their kids are very good people. And while this is still happening, Olivia is still driving, still talking to herself in the car. She's on her way to meet Mariah, but she already feels like this is probably not going to go the way she would want, because she thinks that Mariah doesn't do accountability very well, and she's kind of right. We do get a vague apology. This is the prelude to the confrontation, which is the climax of this episode. Then Micah shows up to his mom's boat, and as he's parking his car, you can actually hear his girlfriend calling him, checking if he got there safely, and asking when he's coming back. I swear the controlling vibes are so real here. I don't know if this is the editing. Are they editing her as a villain? I don't know, but Micah's girlfriend just seems to be way too much for some reason. Micah is checking out his mom's boat engine, and as we all would assume, Kim has no idea about anything. She can't answer any of his questions. She barely knows if the boat has a key. She doesn't know which side port is, which is starboard, nothing. They start talking about Micah's new girlfriend. Kim apparently likes her, but she kind of thought that Micah would be single for decades, and so she did not see a serious relationship coming. Micah confesses that he's scared to get married because of how, he's seeing marriages kind of blow up recently. Ethan and Olivia, and even his parents' marriage, which is totally fair. He asks him, how do you know it's the right person? And honestly, she may not be the right person to ask this, but she actually says when you can't help but want to invest in that person. And now we're at the big Mariah and Olivia standoff scene taking place in Minnesota at Ethan and Mariah's grandparents' farm. The biggie for episode 4. Mariah says that she was wrong last year. She apologizes for keeping a record of wrongs, and she says, who am I to say you're wrong and be completely blind to what I've been doing? Again, no specifics, just vague, reflective, but still nice that she's reaching out. Olivia says that it would have been nice if Mariah was more specific in her apology, like, hey, sorry, I broadcasted to the whole world that you stole my music, type of thing. Olivia is not here to buy this apology. She immediately says something like, yeah, but aren't you releasing a song about me this week, like a burn book of me? Isn't it ironic that you're apologizing and releasing a song on the same week? The song, by the way, that she's referring to is called Circus, and Mariah says that although she felt like that at the time, she no longer feels like that way, but wants to release the song anyway. So she's like, I'm releasing the song no matter what, so whatever. Olivia says that Mariah is like a stranger to her now. She's not thrilled with the apology, but decides to offer Mariah grace because she is only about 20-21, and she wishes someone gave her grace when she first married Ethan and she was 20 and made tons of mistakes. So she's like paying it forward, so to speak. And basically, also, while crying, Olivia tells Mariah that she really did love Ethan, but that sometimes love is not enough. And then they climb farm equipment in their final interview together. They leave and they say, love you! What a far cry from being enemies when they first walked in there. These girls did not speak for 18 months and they're like, love you! Love you! Like, what? What is happening? And so let's now go to episode 5. It's called How Do I Get Rizz? The little girls and Micah go to their Tae Kwon Do class and everyone's watching from the window. Micah says that he is happy that the girls get to do something like a class outside of the home, something that he was not allowed to do growing up. He thinks that maybe if he'd started something really young, maybe he could have been a professional athlete. There's some bitterness there in his tone, but Micah is not confrontational, so this is kind of like how it came out. Micah also admits that he thinks Ken is actually a good guy, and he's getting more comfortable with all of that now, his mom dating, but he says that the older siblings are not okay. And now we're back in Minnesota, and Lydia and Mariah are at Ethan's apartment. They're about to leave for home, for Georgia, but want to check in one more time on him before his big face-off with Olivia. They all say it's been such a great trip, and Mariah tries to make jokes, and Lydia gets coffee for them, but Ethan says he appreciates it, but nothing will really make him feel better right now. And I think we can all relate to that when there's something that's really upsetting and nothing that anyone can say or do or try to make you feel better will make it better in any way. And that is Ethan's vibe currently. He is in pain. In Cairo, Micah and Barry visit one of their rental properties because apparently the Plaths have a bunch. And this one is where Barry says he would like to move, but he's still in a limbo in his divorce. Nothing is signed yet, but he would want to sell the house he's in now and just move in here for a fresh start. Micah seems unsure he wants to get married. He's unsure if he wants to have a landscape business or still go into acting. Barry calls him out for being a bit wishy-washy. He totally is. Like, What do you really want, Micah? Micah tells Barry he gets DMs from people wanting to date him, but Barry is old school, and because he's still married, not divorced, in his eyes, he's not ready for that until the divorce papers are signed. And, I think it's going to happen. Micah tells Barry to Google how to get Rizz. Barry has absolutely no idea what that means, understandably. He tells the producer he thinks people still say dope man, and he says, if he made a dating profile, he would say he has all his ABCs down. His ABCs, people. Barry is the quirkiest dad of all time. Olivia now is in the apartment. I think Ethan let her have time to sort out what she wanted to bring. She's like throwing out dead plants and stuff. And Ethan comes in kind of sheepishly and hangs his jacket and just looks so defeated. Olivia says, "Hey, do you want these pictures?" And he says, "Yes, do you?" She shakes her head no, and he whispers to himself, "I knew it." Ethan says that when Olivia cuts something out of her life, she's completely done, like aka some of her family members, for example. Ethan confronts Olivia about how he feels like she just does not care anymore, and he says it infuriates him. I mean, yeah, he's wondering, is that a front? Like, why am I in pain and you're like gallivanting and totally fine? Mariah visits her mom on the boat now. Kim says that the power went out this morning. The boat almost burnt down, but all okay. There was some burnt plug or something, so no power. She said that there was a burning smell in the air. Okay, not safe to have like everyone on the... It just screams unsafe. Bad idea, Kim. Mariah says that, maybe we can have coffee. And Kim says, oh, to have coffee, I have to heat up charcoal and then boil the water that way. And Mariah's just like, never mind. And in her confessional, she kind of says that her and her mom are like in the way that they're very determined to make something happen, but that something could have people shaking their heads in disapproval. Mariah says that she disagrees with the fact that Olivia told her that love is not enough. They start talking about Ethan and Olivia, and this is obviously triggering to Kim. And Kim says that love is enough if you let love guide the decision, like being selfless, putting their needs above yours. And as she's saying this, like, Earth to Kim, Kim was not doing that for Barry. She actually says that that's probably why her marriage didn't work, but they're talking about Olivia and Ethan, and it's just a very sensitive topic. Mariah admits she is not well. She's going through her breakup, and it's just really hard. Kim just loves Mariah so much. You can tell their relationship is so strong now and completely different than when Mariah was a teen and rebellious. Meanwhile, in Minnesota, Ethan's eyes are red, and he tells Olivia he feels stuck and he doesn't get how she can just move on. Olivia says in a confessional that the relationship was dying for years, and it's also been 9 months since they moved out from living together, so she's just totally over it. Ethan says that day when he unloaded everything he couldn't stand anymore, he really didn't think it would be the end for them. And he said it could have been worked out. He's kind of saying, this was not hopeless. She kind of shoos him away though, saying that she needs to pack up and asks, hey, are you okay to square up tomorrow? And he says no, cries and leaves. He says the worst part is to think that this could be the last time he sees her. Mariah and Kim now are at a coffee shop because, they weren't going to use the charcoal on the boat. And they're choreographing a dance right there at the coffee shop for Mariah's new music video. Like, Mariah's like putting her leg up, shimmying, like everything. And so this is kind of epic, Mariah and Kim. And then we get a very small segue. from Olivia and Ethan's drama. And now Olivia is crying, looking at pictures in a closet. Then the next day, Ethan asked Olivia if she wanted to talk just a final time so he could get things off his chest. But she said she's not emotionally able to do that. So she asked him to write it down. And so he's writing. He writes that he's sorry about how he fell short as a husband, and that he still loves her and hopes that she finds what he couldn't give her, which is so sad. He's basically saying, like, I wasn't good enough, which is no way to feel. He says that the happy memories for him are just as painful as the bad because it's something that's done and over with. And ends up, we learn that Ethan did sign the divorce papers, but not on camera, which is totally understandable. They are divorced, and I'm sure somewhere Kim Plath is jumping for joy. I mean, what an ordeal. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed my recap of episodes 4 and 5 of season 6. Welcome to Plathville. Meet me back here for more recaps, etc. Bye guys!